All right. Good evening, everybody. I am sorry I'm a little late. Just dogs and cats, and I was riding the Peloton, and then had a shower, and yeah, and I cut myself shaving. So I hope you're all doing great. Yeah, what crazy week uh here, and let me check the comment and see. Oh, and that many comments so far. Jim's Landscape LC #1, Commodore Productions. How are you doing today? Um, uh, Tongi Boy, how are you? Claude Sailing, how are you? There's Scott G, my main man at the studio. How are you doing, sir? Um, and there's Eric Madsen. How are you? Donnie, good to see you. I just, matter of fact, I had about 2 hours ago, I had a phone call with Ted Brunetti, who's in Australia. And oh wow, this Hermano Fracine, how are you, sir? Chris Weave is there. Chris, how are you? Oh, and good morning from Journey, Andy. Wow, you are up late or early, it's 3 or 4. What time is it? Is it 4? There's my good friend Paul. How are you? I think is it 4 in Germany, Andy? Because I know England is 5 hours ahead of us now, so I think you're 6. Is that correct? But anyway, it's 3 a.m. in the UK. Yeah, well, okay, Tony Boys, it's 3 a.m. in the UK. So I think that makes it 4 in Germany. But anyway, what's up? Wow, it's been a crazy couple of weeks for me. And there's Tesla. How are you, John? So I'll just tell you guys what's happening. So the good news is June 1st through 8th, Crystal and I took our first vacation, like non-convention vacation. Like I always consider conventions vacations. I guess she doesn't. So she was like, okay, she's been talking about a cruise for years. And so the mother of my godsons called me up 6 months ago and said, hey, let's go on a cruise. Because my godsons, her twins, fraternal twins, they turned 18 on June 1st, and the week before graduated from high school. So like lots of things were happening. Oh, let's go on a cruise. I was like, okay, cruise, great. And so we've been planning it now since last year, so 6 months, over 6. I think like November we decided, so maybe 7 months. And the big, and I'd never been on a cruise. And Crystal's got she knows all the tricks and whatever for going on a cruise and what you need and so on and so forth. She's got the hanging thing for the back of the closet she was worried. And so the big thing was like, oh, well, what room do we get? And I was like, a balcony. My room's got to have a balcony. I don't want a porthole. I don't want one of the interior rooms with no windows. I was like, that's a fucking coffin. So let's get a balcony, because right, you're on the ocean. I want to see the water. I want to be able to walk out on my balcony, have my coffee on the balcony. And let me tell you, it was worth every penny. We paid about, I think they were in the $1,800 range for interior rooms. We paid $3,100 and change for a balcony. And it was worth every penny. Every penny. As a matter of fact, like on day 4, Rhodey, Damaris's partner, said, well, what's your favorite part of the trip so far? And I said, to be honest, my room. I said, whenever I go into my room, I just feel relaxed. First of all, it's air conditioned, it's nice, and it's big enough. It's not huge, but it's big enough. It's got a sofa, it's got a coffee table, king size bed, small king size maybe, but it was great. And I got a balcony. It was like an oasis. It was like whatever I was doing is crazy. It was I go downstairs, I go, and I took so many naps where I was just like, I just want to lie down. I want to read my book, lying in my bed in stateroom, or go out on the patio. It was wonderful. 8 days, no internet. We had it when we went to port, so we'd go to San Juan. San Juan, St. Martin. I don't think we had internet at St. Martin, but we had it at St. Thomas. And so whenever we stopped at the ports, we had internet. But during the trip, no internet. Leave me the hell alone. So it was that was nice. It was nice. We did not get the drink packages. There's like all you can drink for $60 a day, $59.95 plus gratuities, which is 20%, which is fair, of course. But I did the math and I said, okay, first of all, we're on shore for 4 days. You're not drinking those 4 days. I said, second of all, I'm not that big a drinker. I said, 2 drinks a day. If I'm drinking heavy, 3. I may want a pina colada around the pool and at night have a couple of drinks. I said, that's not $60 worth of drinking. And especially on the days we're on shore. I said, so we didn't get that. And Damaris got it. And she was always constantly trying to buy drinks to, get her money's worth. It was wonderful. San Juan, Dominican Republic, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. St. Martin had the most beautiful beach. We went to a beach called Mullet Beach. Oh my God, it was gorgeous. The sand was great. The water was heavenly. You could see to the bottom. It was, oh my God, it was so wonderful. So we had a great cruise. Sunday, I came home and we went down to see my dad, who was on the Saturday, he went to the hospital. He's been failing for well over since my mother passed last year. And we knew that time was coming close. Crystal and I have been going down to see my father for last 6 months. About every other week we go down there. And it's an 8-hour drive. It doesn't make sense to fly. I mean, we drive the 8 hours, no big deal. And I've been going down and seeing him. He's, and we know. I mean, there were 3 different times where they're like, he's gonna go. He's declining fast. So we saw him before that. We went down there for 2 days before the cruise. So we drove down to Tampa Bay, spent 2 days with Dad, took the trip, and then on Sunday, this past Sunday when we got back, stopped at downtown Disney for lunch, and then went down to see Dad. And at this point, he was barely conscious. He recognized me, and but he was really drugged up on morphine because he was in so much pain because he had lung problems. And we saw Crystal. I made sure Crystal spent some time with, at least because my dad loved Crystal. And then we came back, and unfortunately, Monday I get a message from my brother that Dad has passed. And I talked to Ted Brunetti today because Ted's like my therapist. But we talked about when my mother passed. We had a lot of conversation about that. Just because listen, using emotions in acting is that's the process, right? And interestingly, when I took singing for actors with David Corey at Howard Fine's school back in 2013, I think I was taking David Corey's class. David's a world-renowned singing coach, and he teaches singing for actors, which is really about acting while you're singing. It's not about actors learning how to sing. It's an interesting class, fascinating class. But anyway, we had to do one of the exercises was doing something that was grief related, and I struggled with that because I really hadn't lost anyone close, and this was before Richard Hatch passed away, and so anyway, Richard passing was a big blow. But anyway, Ted Brunetti and I have had conversations about this because, and I may have shared it this time, when my mother passed, my mother was suffering from Alzheimer's, and that was tough. And but when she passed, there's a certain, you never want to lose your parent, but you also can lose your parent to Alzheimer's, which is, I've had friends who said, like, look, it's not even the same person. They don't recognize me. They don't want. That never happened with mom. So, but anyway, obviously I was being Greek, I'm very close with my mom. Greek boys are always mama's boys in one way or another. I love my mom dearly. She was, amazing, amazing woman. And, but when I lost her, I didn't grieve the way, I wasn't crying. I wasn't, I was accepting, and I was worried about Dad and whatever. Well, the interesting thing was, a couple weeks, maybe it was I don't want to say it was 3 weeks later after Mom had passed. Maybe it was a month later after Mom had passed. Crystal and I are watching The Rise of Skywalker because it was on. And if you can wade through all the nonsense, there's some great stuff. And I especially love the stuff with Harrison Ford and Han Solo and Kylo Ren, right? I love this. I loved when Kylo killed Han in Force Awakens, and I loved when he came back. I really loved when he came back in Rise of Skywalker. But anyway, and seeing the movie's over, and I think it's Leia who gives Chewie his medal, right? We all remember that in Star Wars in the original, Chewie never got a medal. Han got a medal, and Luke got a medal, but poor Chewie didn't get a medal. Obviously, that's a story point. So I think it's Leia gives. Someone correct me here. I think it's Leia gives Chewbacca the medal, so Crystal and I are watching it, and I turn to Crystal and I say, "Oh, that's because Chewbacca never got his medal," and I just started crying, and like, wow, it just out of nowhere. So anyway, I told. So this is in November, September. I think September we were shooting with Ted. So it wasn't that. It was 2 months later. And I said, Ted, I got to tell you about this. And I shared it with Ted. And he kind of laughed, and we talked about it, and he laughed. And it was kind of like, it'd be like it was like a little in-joke between the two of us. So anyway, something happened on the cruise before Dad passed, actually. And anyway, I wanted to tell Ted, so I called Ted up, and he and I are calling. And when I told him Dad passed, I told him on this phone call, I told him my dad passed. He was really worried about me. So he was like, oh, he said, and anyway, at the end of the call, he's like, you're going to be in a Walgreens buying gum, and you're going to start crying. And we laughed about that. Anyway, that has been my past 2 weeks. I'm doing great. Thank you. I appreciate those who ask. But, and one of the things I've been really enjoying has been the opportunity. Sorry, I cut myself shaving tonight. But I've been enjoying, we're deep into post-production now. So now, this week especially, got back from the cruise, dealing with Dad's passing, and I'm getting previs. I'm getting finished shots. We're having these conversations. And it's really a lot of fun. And it's really interesting. So I wanted to share some of that with you. Now, here's a couple of things for you to pay attention to. If you go to do follow our website, axanar.com, because I post, I've been posting every once in a while something there. If you're a member of our Patreon, which you should be, please join our Patreon campaign rather than the membership on Axanar on the YouTube channel, which may wind up going away. But if you remember the Aries Productions Patreon, Aries Studios, Aries Productions, our Patreon campaign, which really supports us doing this, supports us communicating on a regular basis, doing some other interesting things. That's where I've been starting to give more and more VFX, especially the previs. We haven't released any official stuff yet. However, there's a trailer that's going to be coming out. So I'm kind of sharing this with you. There's a trailer coming out. It was my VFX guy pitched me on this idea. And he said, excuse me, he said, how about we do the, and the way it came about was, I'm trying to think if he told me about it or he just, he presented me with it, I think. And he did previs, and he had a voiceover, which was AI generated Alec Peters. And he had a script and everything. And he pitched it to me. I said, what do you think? He goes, I think we can do this cheap. And blah, blah. I was like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I've been getting some of the shots. I don't know how many of the shots we have left. I think I have half of the shots maybe. But that is really exciting. So we're going to get a trailer here. My guess is it happens in July. Is the trailer will come out. And in the meantime, I'm going to be dropping VFX. The Patreon is where we're really going to share the most. So I would urge you, and let me put that banner up here. So there you go. There's the address for the Patreon campaign. So you can join. You can join for $2 a month, or $5. Or my good friend Billy, who from high school, my best friend, my first Star Trek friend, one of my best friends in high school. Bill just joined the page. He saw the email I sent out, and he sent me, and he joined for $75. And I called him up. I said, "Hey, Bill, that's a monthly donation. I don't want you giving me." And he goes, "No. Till this comes out, you got it. I'm supporting you." I was like, "Oh, thank you." So very, very nice of him. But yeah, listen, $2, $5, whatever. We love it, and we thank you. But I'm really starting to focus on the Patreon and make it fun and make it inside information and so on and so forth about not just Axanar, but the Orville fan film we're working on and other things like that. So that is where all the future stuff is going to be revealed. And you get the first look and everything. So anyway, there you go. So if you can, there you go. Yeah. AI Alec. Yeah, he used AI to generate my voice for the trailer. So yeah, I guess wrong side. There we go. Sorry. So there you go. What else? I'm going to share some previs with you. Now I've shown some. I noticed that I had some uploaded here in the past. So let's just look at a couple shots here. These are short shots. Okay, here's one shot. Now this is previs, so this isn't final. All right. Here's a shot, and this shot is there's a line in Axanar where they talk about how the Klingons are throwing all these ships at them, including old ships, like they're bringing shit out of retirement. Here you go. All right, so what you see there, I'm going to do that again. What you see there is you see some D4s, right? So there's a Raptor, right? I think that's a Raptor there, and that's a D4, the one with the wire struts. And so that shot will be finished and rendered and whatever, and that you're going to see a shot that's pretty similar to that. Here's another. Now there's a couple shots that we worked on, and we're like, our VFX guy would send us something and we go, yeah, close, but I'd like to see this, right? So here's another shot. I think this is one of the later shots. This is the Artemis from Interlude and the Ares, right? That went through a couple versions. Now, there's a couple things that we do that I've talked about if you've read it. And I am going to let me where I think I put them in the master. Yeah, I did it in this folder. Let me the Vulcans. Okay, I'm going to show you a shot. Okay. I'm going to show you the progression of a shot. How's that? First, I'm going to show you. I've shown this before, but I'm going to show it to you now. Here you go.
Stardate 2242.3. Starfleet has established a new medical base, Nightingale Station, near to the front lines with the Klingons.
So that's in the data list short that's coming up. There's a lot more coming for that, and we're really excited about that. Let me open the downloads. I'm going to share you these 3 shots with you. And now what I want to show you with these shots is the progression we go through. So we got a shot, and let's see. Let me just, which one am I missing? I'm missing 3. Where did 3 go? Let me hold on, folks. Vulcan 3. All right, and there it is. Okay, so this shot, we'll start here. Let me. All right, so here's a shot now, and this is the Vulcan. So this is when we're talking about the Vulcan fleet withdrawing, right? That's the general conversation that's happening. And this is the shot that we were presented with, the previs. Right now, we're doing previs because you don't want to render shots and then change them. You want to figure out what you want, and then you get to rendering. So you save as much time as possible, right? All right, so that was the shot, and you see how it was. And so then we weren't quite happy with that shot, and most of it was because, as you'll see in this next shot, this next version is just a little finished version of that same shot. And let me share this with you. Here we go. Okay, so now you see we're starting to put a background in there. I haven't gotten the planet done, but it's still basically the same shot. We're just not feeling the love for this shot. Okay, so and the problem with that shot is that you're talking about them leaving the Federation, but they're coming towards you, right? So there's a little counterintuitive there. You get the idea, but it's more a beauty shot than telling a story, right? We want to tell a story that the Vulcans are leaving. Okay, so now we have this shot. Oh, and let me just back it up, and I'll share it. So we expressed to our VFX team and said, look, we need either this shot is done going away, like you reverse that camera 180 degrees, so we see all of them go away, or else you take the camera and you follow the ships and you do it as a kind of a pan, right? So they're coming at you, and then you move along the side, and then you see them go away, and that's what we got here. So here you go. Now you see how the shot has changed. So still they're coming at you, but now, so now we start focusing, and now we're going away. Okay, so that shot was a lot better. And again, in previs, this is really easy for our team to accomplish, to make changes in previs. There actually was, there's a V4 of that Klingon, of that. Hold on one sec. I have it on my other computer, but I don't have it here. So the one difference. So I'm not going to be able to show you that because I don't think I had. Wait, let's see if I have it in the approved folder. Yes. Okay. So here's the different. Let me show you this shot. Now, the only thing that was different now this is the fourth shot, right? Let me show you this shot. So I'm going to show you. First, let's go back to version 3. Okay, I'm going to show you version 3. We've now gone through the pan. We got that whole piece done, right? Now we're seeing them come, and then we're rotating and seeing them go away. Good, telling the story we want to tell, right? That's where we want to be. So, let me do this because I don't. It's going to confuse. All right. So here's the third shot, right? So, yeah, they're coming towards us. And then as that ship passes us, we rotate, and now we're focusing that little Vulcan ship, and then they're going away, right? Okay, that's good. Got the concept. What I felt, though, is I felt that this ship here, this little one, is the wrong one to be focused on. When you have this big, magnificent ship here in the background, right? The ship behind it, that's the ship that I want to be paying attention to. And I felt it would give it would give it, I'm going to switch here. I felt it would give it, let me close Sesame. So I said to my guys, all right, now I want you to go back and I want you to change the focus of the shot. And again, in previs, that's pretty easy. So and they're like, he's like, fine, done. So here we go. So now you see the ship. And now same shot coming towards us. There's the little ship. But now the camera stays on the big ship and it fills the screen. It's a lot more impressive, right? And you still see the little ship there go away. So 4 versions. We did all 4 in previs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's just iterating the same exact shot. Now this shot is approved. Now that it's approved, it goes in a different folder, and our team now starts rendering those images. And so there you go. Talking Boy says it would be cool if they warped out at the end of the shot as well. Yeah, there's always a lot. Also depends on where the shot is being dropped in, right? How much time you have for the shot based on what the what the actor is saying, what the voiceover is at this point. And also, where is the shot? What kind of effect are you wanting as the shot ends? So yeah, that's a good idea. I'll run it by him. I'll mention it to our team, and someone may say, "Yeah, we're not doing that because X," which may be, "Oh, well, that's just going to add 20 hours to the job." So I don't know, but good point. We will ask that. Dustin D, I am fine, thank you. How are you? Excuse me for yawning. I'm sorry. I know. Paul's probably saying you should be drinking. We used to have a rule that if I yawned, I had to take a shot. Scott, I love you. This is why you're not directing. So there you go. So there are. Let's see. There are those shots. So. Let's see if there's that's Vulcan shot. Let me just see if there's what else do we have to share? Okay, so let me show you this shot. Now, there's two things that we're dealing with here. When we're doing VFX, all right, there's two issues around that Mark and I both felt pretty strongly about. And one is, which I'm really big about, is, excuse me, wrong side, is how we shoot. And this is the director in me that doesn't want to be a director. I really don't want to be a director, but I love great direction. I love great cinematography, and one of the things that we've talked about a lot is just how Star Trek is shot. So when JJ brought back Star Trek and Star Trek 2009, that first scene on the Kelvin was really dynamic. That battle scene, really, really dynamic. The camera's moving all over the place. People are moving all over the place. Yeah, I didn't like the guy running on the bridge, but basically it was really interestingly shot. It was really, really excellent. So we like that. We generally feel, Mark, and I say me, it's Mark and I, we generally feel that the way battle scenes have been done in Star Trek is really boring. You look at any of the battle scenes in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, for the most part, it's done on what we call the space lake. All the ships are in a two-dimensional plane. Some are higher and lower, but it's all two-dimensional. They're all going this way and this way, right? It's not particularly dynamic. So we want to make sure, one, that the cinematography is interesting, that we don't just show ships going like this all the time, right? And also, we want to show the three dimensions of space. We want to get off the space lake and show true three-dimensional thinking, right? Because look, in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Kirk's like, or Spock's like, he shows two-dimensional thinking. So what does Kirk do? He goes, Z minus 200 kilometers, or whatever he says. And we see the Enterprise go up, right? And it rises above. They're still all in the same plane. They're still on, the ships are still on the x-axis. So we're like, we need to just change the way we see ships moving. Okay. And I will get back to your questions here soon. So here's another shot for you. And this kind of shows you kind of what we're thinking. And here you go. And as you see, it's 3D 6s. All right. And so we see them a little different. Let's do that shot again. All right. A little more dynamic, right? Now we wind up on a plane that's familiar. So my team and I, we've been talking about this and talking about how we shoot things, because we just don't want to go over. We want to be more interesting, but on the other hand, we don't want it to be just totally mind warping, like, oh, these ships are all over the place. We want you to get the sense that there's 3 dimensions and that ships move in a certain way but they're moving in space. So there's nothing that says that if I have 2 ships, unfortunately, I don't have any ship models right here, but if I have 2 ships, okay, say these are my 2 ships, right? Let me stop. If these are my 2 ships, right? This is what we see in Star Trek. Oh, we're meeting this other ship, so we're going to do this, right? Well, there's nothing to say that they can't be meeting like this, or that they're turned around or that this one's coming up from this way or from this way, right? Or that this ship, if this is the top of the ship, this ship is upside down, right? And this ship is like this. It's in space. It doesn't freaking matter. So we just want to make sure that we're paying a little more attention than that. Okay. So let's get to some questions. Okay, so Dustin, Skydance is out of the Paramount sweepstakes. Sherry Redstone has rejected their bid. Tanya Burr says recently Starship Combat has gotten much better. Yes, that is true. We think so too. The Icarus maneuver. You mean the Icarus maneuver? Well, the Icarus maneuver is available on our website, and it's also on the Patreon campaign. And we're still arguing with CBS. They're being obstinate, so we're dealing with them. We'll keep you posted. Watch our website. Okay. Yeah. I mean, but as Dustin D points out, I mean, even in I recently watched parts of Star Trek Into Darkness again, which I just don't like that movie. Benedict Cumberbatch's Khan just does not work for me. It does not work. And listen, these movies, there's so much beauty in these movies. The way they're shot, the sets, the video effects. I mean, there's Star Trek Beyond. I might have had the least problems with Star Trek Beyond. But even Star Trek Beyond, I'm like, a motorcycle? Why is there a motorcycle on a starship? Right? It doesn't make any sense. But there's a lot. I mean, the movies are beautiful. You got to admit, the movies are beautiful. So there you go. Is there going to be a Top Gun 3? Is there really? Okay. That's weird. That's going to be interesting. Axanar could be making money for Paramount. What can I say? And Paramount does need money. They have their credit rating is junk status at this point. They've got a whole bunch of debt that's due this summer that needs to be refinanced now at higher interest rates. They're in a lot of trouble, whether they admit it or not. They fired their CEO. And I don't know what's going on. Don't really care. And I don't want to see Paramount. Listen, Paramount is, it's a legendary movie studio. Legendary. With the best film backlot in Hollywood, at this point. Well, maybe Warner's. I guess Warner's too, but Paramount's so iconic with that gate and everything. And it's right in LA, whereas Warner's is in the Valley. But nonetheless, I don't want to see them fail. I would like to see them have a little intelligence around fan films, but I don't want to see Paramount or CBS fail. But there you go. What else you got? You guys, any other questions? Here's the problem with fighter craft, and we saw a little in D69. The problem with fighter craft is shields, right? That's the problem. Shields kind of negate. Fighter craft work in Battlestar Galactica because there's no shield technology. It doesn't work in Star Trek because there is shield technology, and little snub fighters can't penetrate those shields. So there you go. That's the long and short of it, I guess. Excuse me. I do know in the novel, I think the novel was Dreadnought. They had introduced a fighter class. This was 30 years ago. Chris, oh shit. I need to. Oh, so now special. I had told Josh Irwin. Let me see where Josh Irwin is. Jeez, dude. There you are. Tom Barkley, are you there? Because I just saw a message from you. So I just sent that to Josh Irwin and see if Josh pops in. And we're going to get a little update. Yes, you do, Chris. Yes, you do. Yes, and everyone, hopefully you guys watch Starfleet Tactical, which is on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. with Chris Weave. It's always good. It's always a lively conversation about science fiction and technology and science fiction. Uh-huh. Yes. Okay. I'm just waiting for Josh. If there are any questions, so we'll continue to share VFX with you. I think we're going to be close to finishing the VFX for episode 4, which is the easy episode, admittedly, rather soon. And I had a whole can of water of my bubbly. My sparkling water. All right. Do I need to call? Let me call Josh. Tell him to get in here.
I'm about to head in.
Bye. Okay, there you go. So he's coming in. So we catch up with Josh Irwin. I wish I had. I was going to invite. Oh, there he is. I'll invite Jonathan Lane to see if he is playing. Oh, Scott, thank you for reminding me. Yes, Axanar is going to be on Friday, August 2nd. I think is that Friday, August 2nd. Let me just check. Yeah, Friday, August 2nd. And I should, as a matter of fact, Josh and I need to talk about that because we are. I'd definitely love to have him down for that. But yes, August 2nd, Axanar. I will be getting around to making a big notice of it and letting everyone know. It's just going to be fun. I'm trying to get a bunch of the actors to come by. I think it'd be a lot of fun to have the actors there with us. Oh, there's the pop. That's Joshua Irwin. Hello.
Hey.
Hello. We're talking about Axanar, August 2nd, which is the weekend of the Starfleet International International Conference, which is here in Atlanta this year.
Huh.
So, yeah, you should try and come. I know you're going to come down. We're going to film in July, but you should think about coming down for Axanar. And we could, maybe we do screenings of on the bridge with of some of your films.
That would be neat.
Now that we have a big screen TV there.
Yeah, I went to one of the Axacons. I think it was 2019 was the one that I went to last.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think so. And that weekend is Starfleet International Conference. So,
okay.
Yeah. So that would be fun. So how are you doing, Josh? Busy. I know you're busy.
I'm taking a little bit of a break right now because I spent 6 months working on a film, and as I've told you kind of on the phone a few times, like I work my day job where I edit like 6 TV commercials a week, and then I'd come home and either work my second job where I do these like retail education videos, or I'd come home and I'd work on that film that we just released. It was a Tales from the Neutral Zone. And I did so much editing that I got like tendinitis in my index, my right index finger. And so I haven't even been using my right index finger for a few weeks. Like I learned to work the mouse left-handed to give my finger a rest.
Very
it's feeling
good for
better
your
now.
brain.
So
it's always good to learn new skills for your brain.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I've got another Avalon film, the last Avalon film that I'm about to get started on, but I'm not in any big hurry. I'm just sort of slowly organizing the project and like easing my way into it after taking about 3 weeks to not work on some big, editing project. So I'm excited about that.
Good. All right. Well, that's good. Now, where is Crisis? How many views has Crisis had so far?
About 105,000.
Nice.
So not bad. The film that got the most views over the past year is The Lost Starship, which is another Tales from the Neutral Zone that was written by Brian Peterson. Kind of this like mystery Romulan, cloak and dagger kind of thing. It's actually a really good film. Dave Cullen featured it on his channel. So that was really neat, and that gave it a huge view count boost. And so it's got about something like a 75,000 view lead on Crisis at the moment. But, Crisis is doing all right. So I can't complain. It's a matter of perspective. It's nice to get 105,000 or 200,000 views on a film, but somebody posts like puppy licks baby cheeks, and that gets like 30 million views on YouTube. So you do have to keep some perspective on things, I think.
Yeah, I know. I know. The social media is crazy. I don't even know if I have a TikTok account. I've watched a couple TikTok videos, but people go down those rabbit holes and they don't come out.
The last company that I worked for, my boss would just stay up all night watching them, and he'd come into work and he'd be like groggy because
oh my gosh,
I watched too many TikTok videos last night. Oh man, I didn't get any sleep. I wonder why his company went over.
Oh gosh. Oh man, yeah. I know. I did fall asleep last night watching The Acolyte, but it had nothing to do with The Acolyte. Had to do with me being tired. Yeah, you and I were having this conversation, and about I'm getting sick and tired of people bitching about Star Wars. Because I really don't think there's that. I mean, the 3 sequel films were objectively bad, I think. But since then, you've got 3 seasons of Mandalorian, 2 of which were outstanding, one of which was okay. Book of Boba Fett kind of sucked. Yeah, it was kind of mediocre, except the episodes with the Mandalorian and Grogu. Obi-Wan, it was okay.
All right. Yeah.
It was, it was good. Ahsoka, I thought, was wonderful. I loved Ahsoka. Andor is nothing short of phenomenal.
Amazing. Yeah, very good.
In my book. And then now we have The Acolyte, which started pretty good. I mean, I'm reading these people on Facebook are just savaging it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, did I miss an episode? What did you think was so damn bad? And I think I'm getting to the point where I'm just kind of blocking out anything negative. It's like, you know what? I'm just sick of hearing people whine about Disney and whine about Marvel.
We do have sort of an overly critical culture, I think, these days. Where people are, I think people sometimes go in watching something from the standpoint of I'm going to be critical of this, instead of from the standpoint of I know what I'm watching and I'm gonna just find a way to enjoy what I'm watching and chill. Look, when you watch a Star Trek fan film, I think that you sort of have to go in knowing what you're watching and adjust your lens accordingly a little bit, because it's not going to be a multi-million-dollar project. And so you have to be able to just kind of relax and enjoy it. And I can watch a lot of Star Trek fan films and enjoy them in that way. I kind of did that with Discovery even. I'd watch Discovery and I'd realize I'm watching Discovery, and I would adjust my lens a little bit and allow myself to actually kind of enjoy watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the way you have to be. But I'm just, everyone's so mad at Kathy Kennedy that it's now coloring everything, and the people are anticipating not liking something, and I don't think that's productive.
I think that people have gotten so frustrated over the pervasiveness of DEI that they're just getting mad to get mad at this point, and they're not even giving certain things a chance. And I know that there are many things that you can look at from that standpoint and go, okay, well, they're emphasizing that over story, or there are unbelievable things that happen, that there are unearned victories, or there are these kind of ridiculous hand-to-hand combat things that happen. And that's kind of a legitimate complaint that people have about certain things. But at the same time, I think we've gotten to a point where even if there's a good story that doesn't have those things, that people just get angry anyway. We were talking about the death of the war, the fan film that the Tales from the Neutral Zone that we just released, that had a predominantly female cast. And that wasn't like some attempt at DEI. That was just, that was the story that I was telling. I wrote that crew for Crisis on Infinite Excaliburs. Then I was like, I like this crew and I want to follow them back into the Prime universe and do an adventure with them. And so I looked at that and I wrote something. Well, it comes across as intentionally DEI, but it's not. Like I cast Luis Sanchez as my science officer because I think he's a great actor and I'd seen him in other things. And I thought, man, this guy's a fantastic actor. I'm going to cast him.
Yeah, I like him.
My kind of main hero character is Michaela Allenby, who's a character that's based on my 14-year-old daughter. And so it was more about that thing's been more about having a story to tell my daughter, hey, you can be anything you want in life. And so it wasn't like to try to like virtue signal or score points or anything. And if you watch the film, there, people come across in the comments, they're like, oh, this is more girl boss nonsense. There's no girl bossness in there. There's no man hating. There's no portraying men as incompetent. There's no like ridiculous hand-to-hand combat scene that occurs. It's just a captain who is a female, who solves a problem the way any other captain would. But because that captain is female, I get all kinds of negative comments from people who don't even want to give it a chance.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, the internet has given license to every idiot with an opinion to broadcast that opinion worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
And it just perpetuates itself. So, I think what we need to do is just continue to do great work and promote that. I think that's important.
And you're never going to make something that everyone likes. There are people that don't like Star Trek First Contact, or people that don't like Wrath of Khan, or people that don't like Back to the Future. I remember film school talking with a bunch of, like just film students, people who have been bitten by the bug, artists getting real into it. And they're like, well, I like Waking Life and I like Requiem for a Dream. And they're all going through all of this and all this beautiful sequence and this. And somebody was like, well, what movie do you like? And I was like, I like Back to the Future. And they're like, that doesn't have like any artistic shots in it. And I was like, it's a good movie, man. Like, people like watching it.
Right. And I think this is why it makes sense that we have a new category in the Oscars that is about, what does the audience love? Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember the last time a movie came out like Top Gun where everyone loved it. I mean,
it's pretty rare.
I mean, maybe 99%, 98%. I mean, yeah, you get the outlier. I mean, but there's still people like, I hated the original Top Gun. I'm like, how can you hate that's like saying you hate Aliens. It's like,
those few movies that are masterpieces,
right.
And it's hard to make. Look, there've been so many masterpiece films made over the years that it's hard to keep that up. Not everything that you make is a masterpiece. And a lot of things are going to be derivative now that we have 120 years of movies behind us and 75 years of television. And there's going to be a lot of derivative stuff.
A gazillion streaming services all trying to create more content.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm starting to go through my streaming services and look at and go, okay, what interesting little films. And I just started one today, and I just started it and then decided I'm not in the mood for this, but I really want to see it. And it was some space thing, and just the first. A lot of times I'll turn those movies on. A lot of them are on Amazon Prime, and I'll turn that on, and 60 seconds in, I'm going, "What a piece of shit!" I'm like, I could grab you, Josh, and Jim Ross as our gaffer, and the three of us could go out and make a movie tomorrow that is better than the shit that it got on Amazon Prime.
Make Jewish space laser.
Yeah, exactly. But this movie, I was like, this is going to be another shit movie. And I turned it on and wow, I was like, okay, I don't know if this movie is written well, but boy, this looks good. These guys really knew how to use the budget. So I was like, okay, I don't want to watch this now, but I definitely want to watch this. And I think, I think there are a lot of movies. There are movies that are like Back to the Future that are story-driven movies, story and character, and it's great. It's Marty McFly and Doc, and it's a great movie. It's not a cinematic masterpiece; it's an entertainment masterpiece, right? And I get that, right? They can't all be Casablanca. They're not all supposed to be Casablanca. We need Winnie the Pooh too, and so, but I do enjoy watching movies that I can learn from, or I can say, now that's impressive. Like everyone, so many people just think that the first Superman movie is still the best superhero movie of all time. And I get where they're coming from. I don't feel that way, right?
It has some amazing qualities to it. It has some elements that are there. And there's the nostalgia from especially if you grew up in the late 70s and the 80s.
Yes.
But what you have to keep in mind about that film is that it's actually kind of incomplete. The methodology when they made that movie is that they were shooting Superman 1 and Superman 2 at the same time.
Yes.
And then got through 2/3 of the way through that and fired the director. Yeah. So, I think they swapped. The ending of Superman 1 was supposed to be the ending of Superman 2, and it got kind of convoluted. So it's like almost there. It's like 75% there, and there was some meddling from the executive producers that kind of stopped it from being what it could have been.
Yeah, but that being said, whatever you feel about that movie, that first 30 minutes is just about perfect.
It is.
I just really, and I'm not a Superman guy. I'm not a DC guy. But that first 30 minutes is mind-boggling how good it is. Now, Marlon Brando. All right. And Glenn Ford as Pa Kent. I just really feel I just really love that. I really do. And I love the fact that they've used Marlon Brando. I love the fact in Superman Returns they used Marlon Brando. As a matter of fact, they used the unshot footage unused footage from that. I was just watching how much. Marlon Brando wound up with like $17 million for 12 days of shooting or something like that. Back then that was
he was reading off of cue cards. Reading off the baby's diaper, and then a lot, like you said, a lot of that footage didn't get used in Superman 2 until they recut the film in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about that whole situation, but that's you could do a film school lecture on that. I've often thought about like you could have Superman versus the budget. Where you could talk about like just the meddling of the bean counters ruining a movie franchise,
Yep, exactly. Jen Knudsen, yes, the full script. I just moved it up to the top of the pile. We've got some Dana and I have some work to do on that, but we're trying to put that thing to bed here by the end of next month, I would say. So stay tuned. And Casablanca, yes, masterpiece. What
are you going to say? There's
I just,
especially for the time period that it was made in, and
oh my
there's
God,
there's so much artistry to the cinematography and the film noir style of it, and perfect writing. People are quoting it to this day. I'm shocked.
I know. I love Claude Rains. He's great. He's great.
But you can pick apart anything. Like, and I was bringing up Back to the Future earlier. You can pick apart Back to the Future. You really can. Let me tell you how. 88 miles an hour. What does that mean? Why is 88 miles an hour where you travel through time? There's no scientific credence. That's just something they randomly came up with. Or this is the thing that's always bothered me is, okay, he's driving the DeLorean. He gets it up to 88 miles an hour in the mall parking lot. And then suddenly he's in the farmland, back in 1955, and he crashes into the dude's barn. What they're trying to say is the DeLorean travels through time, but it stays in the same point in space, right? Well, if that were to happen, he would emerge in space because the Earth would be in a different orbit around the sun, and he would suffocate and die.
Yeah, but that would have been a short film.
But that's a dumb criticism. That's thinking about it way too much. But you could, like, I'm just making the point. You can pick apart anything if you want to. If you want to make that effort to try and pick something apart, you can. But if you that's why they call it, suspension of disbelief. You willfully just kind of say, I'm going to buy into whatever this story is that I'm watching and sit back and enjoy it.
Exactly. There's so many ways you can pick apart so much, but the question is, are you enjoying watching the film? I think that's the truth. I was watching Saving Private Ryan the other day, which I haven't seen in years, to be honest with you. Wow, what a great film! What a great film! And really, really impressed watching Matt Damon too. Matt Damon is a fine actor. He is really, he really is. That he has some really great work. We were talking about was it you that posted the post about Dick Van Dyke getting a Daytime Emmy Award?
Yes,
and I stole that from you.
Yeah,
and I posted because Crystal and I are both huge Dick Van Dyke fans.
How crazy is that? How old that guy is, and he's still active and.
Yep. Used to go, and up until recently was going to the gym every day.
And also one of those people that's like never had a scandal in his entire life. Just like a genuinely nice dude who's always sincerely just been exactly who you think he is, has had like an amazing career, and he's still around. He's what, 97 or something crazy like that?
I think he's 95. I think that article said he was 95.
95? Okay.
Yeah, but God bless him. And so we were having the conversation about because I said a legend, like a true legend. And I think in the thread in my post, people started talking about, people they considered legends. And I said the thing about Dick Van Dyke is he was an entertainer, not just an actor. I mean, that guy's a true classic song and dance man, as well as a comedic actor, as well as just a fine actor top to bottom. Had a great hit show lasted for Diagnosis Murder, lasted for I don't know how many seasons that lasted. Very successful. And Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Chitty Bang Bang. I mean, just legendary, movies that he was the guy in. And I was just thinking, like, all right, how many guys do I put in, or how many actors, not just guys, do I put in that category? And the only name that came to me was Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Robin Williams was a master comedian, just masterful, who morphed into this amazing dramatic actor.
Yeah.
I mean, his dramatic film career is just, it may not be as big an IMDb as others, but holy crap, he was good. Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon, right? There were so many. The one where he plays a serial killer, 1 Hour Photo, was it? I mean,
yeah. Oh, that one's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so, and I was just saying, and people were saying, oh, what about this guy? Well, I go, yeah, great. Like Al Pacino, great actor, legendary actor. Do I put him in Dick Van Dyke and Robin Williams category as an entertainer? No, I put him as, one of the greatest actors of all time. There you go. But those guys were just 8 seasons. Scott voices and Diagnosis Murder was 8 seasons. That's what I was going to say.
And a bit of trivia there. Diagnosis Murder was the last appearance of Andy Griffith as Ben Matlock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I heard that there was a crossover there.
Yeah. And Matlock had ended, and he came and he played Matlock in an episode of Diagnosis Murder, and that was his last appearance as the character.
That is fantastic. Wow. That is wow.
And Andy Griffith, look at him. A lot of people don't realize the kind of range he had. He played God, what was the name of the movie? Like early on, before the Andy Griffith Show, where he played some like crazy narcissistic singer who became like a politician or something.
Right? Yeah. Oh, that's gonna kill me. Yes, we've talked about that movie.
Yeah,
because it's so relevant in the age of
right.
Because what he does is he comes out and he gets caught on a hot mic saying what idiots the people are voting on for.
Yep.
And yeah. So yes, it's true. But look, and Dick Van Dyke Show had 5 seasons. Scott's saying, which
that was probably a lot though back then.
Oh yeah, and it's such classic TV, I know that Linda Alexander, the lady who wrote the biography of Steve Inat, which I think I have. Where is it? I have it here somewhere. She is. Where is my bio? It's probably up there. She is writing a book on Diagnosis Murder, which I think is coming out.
Very cool.
So yeah, she interviewed Dick's son Jerry for that, because Jerry was in that. So yeah, so it's amazing. Well, listen, it is 11:17. We got to wrap this up because I do have to take care of the critters,
all right, man,
the dogs and the cats. But it's great having you on as always.
Yeah.
We'll need to we need to get Jonathan Lane on to talk about his showrunner awards. Tell us what the top.
I could pretend to be Jonathan if you'd like, because I could tell you all about the show awards. They're going to be great this year. And then if he heard that, he'd be like, I don't think your impression of me. I think it's getting worse. It's really not very good.
Next time I'll let you do your impression of me as well. You can do Jonathan and I talking to each other.
I do the Alec mainly for entertainment purposes at parties.
Well, good. Well, we'll save that for next time. Listen, thank you everyone for coming out to. It's been almost 2 months since we did an Axanar Confidential. Do listen. If I would recommend you watch the last one, which is with Dave Lanyon, our benefactor and funder of Axanar. So do check that one out. That was a really good episode, because you can learn all about Dave and what he's up to. Also, we have a GoFundMe for Axanar Animal Rescue, and so please check that out. Once again, I'm going to urge you to check out our Patreon campaign. That is the best way to get all the inside information on Axanar, the Orville fan film, all the new things that we're doing, and find out, watch previs for the visual effects, and the visual effects shots will be released there. Some of them released before anything else. So yeah, do check it out. We appreciate it. And Axanar Animal Rescue is going strong. We have a GoFundMe. It's up to $1,400. So if anyone wants to help out with that, we would greatly appreciate it. But all right, my friend, listen, you take care. Go get some sleep. Don't watch TikTok videos all night.
No problem.
And we'll be back hopefully next week. Make sure you stop by Saturday for a Starfleet Tactical with Chris Weave, Saturday, 10 o'clock. And we'll follow up. All right, guys. Everyone, live long and prosper, and we'll see you soon.